When we say a barrier-free recruitment process, what we really mean is we want to allow everyone to have an equal opportunity to self-select into a process if they're qualified and feel like this would be a job that works for them. And we see it so much that barriers sort of sneak into the process at every stage. There could be job descriptions that are sort of not intentionally, but selecting people out of the process without them even, showing up. We have interview questions that can create barriers. Sometimes the actual offer process, when we get there, can create barriers for different groups. So it's really all about being intentional and thinking about each piece of the process, identifying where those barriers might be for some diverse groups, and doing everything we can to focus on that and reducing them so that everyone really has that equal opportunity to look at a job and say, yes, I meet these requirements and I'm in, and I want to be able to be a part of this. It is so important to have a barrier-free recruitment process for a couple reasons that really stand out for me. The first one is that in doing this, we allow for a larger and more qualified candidate pool that also is more diverse to come into our process, which helps us in our selection, of course. The second one is that it really provides a much more positive candidate experience, particularly for candidates that are coming from diverse groups, diverse backgrounds, experiences, generations, all these different pieces of diversity. It allows for a really positive experience when they don't feel like they may not have a qualification based on a diverse dimension of who they are and who they identify as. And lastly, we always say a candidate is always a potential client. So I truly believe that it can help the bottom line regardless, because if someone has a really positive candidate experience from a diverse group, they're going to go out there to their network and they're going to share that positive experience. And no matter what, even if they do get the job or not, they're going to have that positive memory of an organization that really believes in diversity and believes in inclusion. And you'll come to mind first next time, they want to purchase something or they want to refer somebody to a job. So it really, it impacts them positively, but it really does impact the business positively at the end. The steps that we can take to reduce barriers in our process and set candidates up for success, for me, come in sort of three buckets. So the first one, first and foremost, always define your process. Oftentimes, recruitment is very reactive. We know we have an empty spot and we just go out there and try and fill it. Take some time to define each step of your process, how you identify the need, who you're looking for, how you then go out and try and find those people, and how you interview and actually close the deal. Once it's defined, it makes it so much easier to identify where there may be barriers for diverse candidates. So the second piece is really identifying where the barriers are at each stage of the process once you've defined it. For example, oftentimes we have targeted sourcing strategies, so we go to specific schools, and in doing that, oftentimes we are self-selecting out people who might be from different socioeconomic classes or people who might not be in that geographic area who would attend that school. We also see barriers in job descriptions. So if they ask for local experience in that country, we're immediately removing people from the process who may be new Canadians or new Americans and may believe that they don't have the experience they need, when in fact they might actually have it from the country that they're coming from. So the key here is really all about going through each of those stages, finding those barriers, so at least our heads up when we're looking at our process end to end and what we might be doing to diverse groups without even knowing it. And the last piece is investing some time and some resources in reducing those barriers. There is so much out there that can help when it comes to looking at your job descriptions and seeing the pieces in there that might be removing groups from the process, looking at your sourcing strategies, connecting with career centers, with women's networks, with companies that help landed immigrants, all these different groups, creating those connections and using those resources to really create that barrier-free process from end to end to help increase your pool and really increase the quality of your candidates.